Okay, so I've got your little circuit here. And what does it do? It's an RC circuit. And RC is my middle initials. But I can't do it right, and I can't even read the voltmeter properly. But don't worry about that, because that's fucking confusing. Okay. So, this motor will go until you close that connection there. And you could think that I've completely stuffed it. That there's no, I could have easily have shorted away from the motor, but it completely stops, and there's a 50 ohm resistor on it, so I couldn't just be shorting. I had a lot of connections to fix up, and I had to add an extra cap to get it working, and that's how fucking hard it is. Anyhow, you just gotta need more experience. And it's, what is it? It's well, what is it? It's kind of like a square wave amplifier. You can actually do it with audio as well. So if you're making a motor driver, it's only a full left, full right motor driver, but in this circuit it's only like full right, and that's it. It's either just full on or full off. And if you didn't want to do it with the relay and do it with power, you just have to make sure this capacitor doesn't get charged. If that capacitor gets charged, then the motor will turn off. It does actually work with audio. But I think you do this little red connections here, and then you have to guess exactly the voltage and the current coming into the capacitor, because then you have to equal the resistance, the equivalent resistance, and you have to equal the voltage. Yeah, with that. You see, this is actually going through a divider here, and this is its high voltage, and this is the low voltage section. So I found that I can trigger that off with the voltage divider, which turns it off. Okay. Now it looked like it was working, okay, but it still might not be working. So that 5 there is supposed to divide the volts, and if it didn't, then I'm just lying. So at this point in my little career, which might come to a little drop down, because you know Alan Turing only lived till he was 35. I just realized that now. What a fucking piss off that is, eh? Anyhow, so what I suggest, which isn't fucking reality at all, because I'm like a little rebel that thought he was too good, but actually I just made a fool of myself. As I think you have to see where your volts are getting divided. It's easy to see a current divider, but it's hard to see a voltage divider. But even then, it's hard to see anything. It's a fucking bastard, eh? So why does that 5 divide the volts? It's because I'm coming in here with a 50 resistor, and I'm coming out with a 5 there. So I'm charging this cap with a 50, and then I'm discharging with a 5. And that means that this point here has the discharge connection plus the charge connection on it, or it's that point. And that means that negative is going to come in there, and it's going to mix with the positive, and it's going to produce less voltage. So you can actually do a voltage divider through a capacitor, and I think that's what it's doing, but I could be freaking wrong. And then I think this is working, and it actually isn't working yet. So if I don't actually divide the volts there, it works easily. But it's a full shut off. what happens when I close that. And this one's supposed to be a full shut off because it's supposed to be perfect. But it just depends. Are you sure that divided the volts there? Let's hope so. Anyway, so I did get it working with audio a little bit, but the problem is that you have to guess that V and I didn't actually know that at the time, and but I was getting a small amplitude increase. I was trying with continuous values at first, but then I thought, oh no, it has to be a square wave. So then I put a square wave into it. It did actually react a lot better with the square wave. But it was actually quieter than what I started with. That can be explained by this denominator resistance being too high. Yeah, so I need to go to the shop and get some more smaller resistors. But the higher this signal is, okay, so this system works, okay, by having to equalize with the signal for it to shut off, okay? And if you don't shut off or you don't shut on, it's either way, you're quieter. Either way, it's quieter. If you turn on too much, it's too quiet. If you turn off it too much, it's too quiet. So that means you sort of have to get it perfect, and you have, when you equalize with it, then this ratio between this one, and this is getting really weird. What voltage dividers can just look like anything, and you can even have a capacitor involved with them, unless I'm bullshitting myself. So anyway, so between this one and this one, because of this connection there, will cause the voltage division. So that means when I've equalized with this one's supposed to have the higher volts on it when it equalized, and that's how it works.